If you've heard of an Imaginer one-shot, then you probably had a Tumblr account and you've probably read some fan fiction. But if not, don't worry, we are here to tell you about all the different types of fan fiction. Starting off, fan fiction is creating your ideal scenario. This could either be with an imaginary character, like someone from a TV show or a movie, or it could be someone who actually existed in real life, like a Harry Styles, a 5 Seconds of Summer type person. Some of the first fan fiction revolved around Harry Potter, and one of the popular ships, which we'll talk about, was Harry and Hermione. So a ship is when you are saying that I want this character to be with this character in a romantic type of way. And so instead of Hermione and Ron, people wanted to ship Hermione and Harry, which is interesting.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert, sorry.
If you haven't seen Harry Potter.
Hopefully you've seen it after like 10 years since it's come out. This takes place within all different types of fandoms, within fans, within universes, and so ships are a huge part of fan fiction. And really where they started out on the internet after Harry Potter was in this sci-fi world. So we got a lot of Doctor Who. There was a lot of the Vampire Diaries. I remember seeing a lot of those on Wattpad. And then it moved over into musicians and into celebrities. And that's when the height of 1D was happening, which just collided with the height of fan fiction. And what birthed a lot of the huge fan fiction novels was One Direction and their fandom. And then there was also a lot of 5 Seconds of Summer too.
And you also had before that, you know, at the front end of fan fiction, you had like Justin Bieber and like Taylor Swift and Jonas Brothers and all of that. But I think One Direction just like hit the nail in the coffin with the timing of everything.
Yeah. And with these fan fictions, sometimes it is Harry Styles. He is the, you know, singer in One Direction, and it is him actually, his real personality, or what we know of his real personality.
What we know.
Yeah, what we know. And then other times it is completely different. So it could be Harry Styles is a 4th grade math teacher in Iowa. And so
what an example.
I don't know. That's how all the fan fictions were. They were so random. They were like, my next door neighbor, he was cute but unattainable. Like all the cliches you can think of, there was a fanfic with that in there, and Harry Styles.
I also feel like if it's a situation like One Direction or 5 Seconds of Summer, all of the members are included in the story. Like you have one member that is the love interest, but then like you're friends with the rest of the band. Or like if it's a teacher, like Liam's the principal or something. Like,
and sometimes they do know each other and sometimes they don't. Like I remember one where it was like Liam was your best friend's brother and Harry was the love interest and Niall was like your best friend, and like just different stuff. So it was always funny. But fluff is another type of, it's like a category of fan fiction. And those are more of like the sweet, fun, happy, like positive stories that are just kind of, you know, when you're scrolling, you're not spending as much time in. It's a little more surface level. These are usually like the imagines and the one-shots that we're going to talk more about.
When we're talking about Harry being a 4th grade teacher or he's like a mechanic or something, those are called alternate universes, or AUs for short. So whenever someone says, oh, I wrote this AU about Niall Horan, they're talking about this universe that they imagined in their head.
Yeah, so same face, same name, but that's it. Different personality, different everything else.
So like Sarah Beth said, there is fluff. There's also smut, which is sexual content. I don't think that I need to explain that. If you are under the age of 18, do not Google it. I am not telling you to read smut. Disclaimer. And then there's also angst. So fluff, smut, and angst are the main 3 types of stories that you see. Angst is basically dark scenarios, like scenarios of depression, sadness, anger.
I feel like there's always one of like someone in prison.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Or like angst will be like you and Luke Hemmings got in a fight and it's like not a happy ending. Which like if you want to read that, like period. Not me though. So those you will see in a one shot or an imagine, which is basically just a short story that has little to no backstory. Yeah. So they might say, oh, you're Nick Jonas's wife and this is your morning routine with Nick Jonas.
And some of them would be photos too. So it'd be like, you're going the red carpet with Niall and it would be your outfit. Or like,
yeah, like preferences.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those were really big. So those are what we mean when we say one shots or imagines. They're just little one-off stories about random scenarios. They can be real life or AUs. Yeah. The author will usually put like warning or tags and it'll say like fluff, like M/F, which means like male or female, or like M/M, which means like male and male.
And the imagines would always start like imagine if.
Yeah. Back in the day, imagine if.
Yeah.
That's where the term imagines comes from. Mm-hmm. Nowadays you just see like one shots. Is what they are mainly called, at least in the One Direction fandom. Mm-hmm. And then you have a POV, which is, it can be like from any like first, second, or third person point of view, or even like the love interest point of view. But a lot of times Y/N is the opposite love interest.
And it's your name. And
it means your name. So that'll be the love interest, like YN and Harry Styles. He'll like address you like, YN, do you want to come to the movies with me?
And it'll be the letter Y / the letter N. Mm-hmm. And I love those, but it's just so funny looking back now. And it was like they literally wrote you in the story, which is, it's cool, but you're like, as a teenage girl, just...
Whenever I see Y/N on a paper, like my brain automatically translates it to my name. Because I've just read fanfiction for so long. So that is a type of fanfiction. Sometimes the opposite love interest, the girl or the boy, whoever, will have a random name and it'll be a story about like Violet and Harry. You know, some random name. And then also with the rise of social media, there is this thing called social media AUs, or social media alternate universes. SMAUs, or SMAUs for short. And these are basically fake social media posts that tell the story through social media. So these are really popular on Twitter as well as Tumblr, and you will see fake tweets, fake Instagram posts, even maybe like some text messages in there. Basically, if you don't like to read a lot, but you want to read fan fiction, these are great for you.
Oh yeah, and we'll make sure to link in the caption a whole blog post with all of these terminology, because I realized there's a lot of terminology in here.
There's a lot of terminology that I forget that normal people don't know. Yeah. That is basically all the types of fan fiction. There are other types of fan fiction that we just did not go into, like ABOs and all that type of stuff, which is like Alpha, Beta, Omega, which is like werewolf type fan fiction. We could sit here for hours and tell you all of the different terms, but those are the main ones.
I was just gonna say, if there's any other types of fan fiction you want to hear more about, comment it below, because there are so many types of fan fiction for all different types of fandoms, not just music, which is what we mainly focus in, but there's, like we said, for TV shows, for movies, for books, for everything you can think of.
For sure. If you liked this, keep watching. We're gonna talk more about the popular fan fictions, how fan fiction impacted fandoms, and where you can read it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna want to check it out.